I'm Lucy Hawkins, live at Buckingham Palace on the second day of President Trump's controversial state visit to Britain. After holding talks with Theresa May, Mr. Trump heaps praise on the relationship between the US and the UK.
It's the greatest alliance the world has ever known. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The President talks of a phenomenal trade deal after Brexit, but insists everything is on the table. Meanwhile, protests take place in central London, but they are smaller than anticipated.
Also on global lockdown in Sudan's capital, a day after 30 protesters were shot dead. The country's military rulers cancel all agreements with the opposition as hopes fade for a peaceful transition to civilian rule. And vigils to mark 30 years since the Tiananmen Square massacre. We'll hear from a former activist who was part of those protests. This is Global.
Welcome to Global. It is day 2 of President Trump's state visit to the UK. Yesterday, all about the pomp and ceremony. Today, it was politics. Donald Trump describing the special relationship between the US and the UK as the greatest alliance the world has ever known. He also talked about the potential for what he described as a phenomenal trade deal after Brexit. The President and the British Prime Minister Theresa May were asked as well about Iran and the Chinese telecoms giant Huawei, where there's been disagreement. Meanwhile, though, protests have been taking place on the streets of central London. We'll bring you more on those protests in a moment. But first, let's bring you up to date with some clips from that news conference.
Thank you for the invitation to memorialize our fallen heroes and for your partnership in protecting and advancing the extraordinary alliance between the American and the British people. It's the greatest alliance the world has ever known.
Today, we've discussed again the new and evolving challenges to our security, our values, and our way of life. We share the same view about their origin.